Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I am Ryan Anjarami, and I am from Reddit. Nice to see a lot of familiar faces in the room. Like a lot of you, every single day, I'm on my phone. Every single day, I spend an embarrassing amount of time on this device. Ooh, should probably actually move the slides ahead, huh? Ooh. There we go. Okay. Every single day, I am bombarded with content, with ads, with calls to action. But there is one thing, though, that I never, ever do. I never click ads. In fact, most people don't click ads. Marketers in the room, think about the most amazing click-to-conversion rate that you have ever seen. I don't want to get too depressing, but most people that you served an ad to didn't do anything. So we have this challenge as an industry where we chase after one metric, but also at the same time try to find out, did our business grow? Is there any sort of correlation with organic, user acquisition, all the things that we care about? Now, luckily, AppsFlyer exists, and they've solved a lot of measurement troubles for folks. So we're not going to talk about all of those things today, but we are going to talk about our online communities. How do you tap into them? How do you understand how they operate? When you're about to make a decision, how do you come to that decision about what you want to buy? Is it an ad? Is it a review? Maybe it's a mix of both. Do you do your own research? Where do you do that research? Whose opinions do you trust? Every single day, there are people that have questions. What school should I send my kid to? Hey, I want to start eating healthier. Is there an app that maybe I could use that would help me with that? I don't want to waste my time. Are there any sort of subscription apps that I could use that could help me out there? Every single day, people come to Reddit with questions like this, but also to try to find out what to wear, what to watch, what to buy, cast iron seasoning tips, so much more. They also come for connectivity. Connections can change your perception, they can change your mood, they can change your entire life. Here's a couple of questions that are on a subreddit called Ask Reddit that we found. And it shows just the variety of conversations that happen. What seems to be overpriced, but in reality is really worth it? How do you know if you're truly living or just surviving? People ask these questions on Reddit, and not in other places, because they can be their authentic selves. 74% of Redditors believe that the anonymity on the platform allows it to be more transparent and more trusted than other social media. It also allows them to be more vulnerable and also times a lot funny. This openness is a unique, genuine aspect of the types of conversations that you can see happen in communities. So let's go back to that question. What seems to be overpriced but in reality is worth it? Good shoes and socks. 25,000 upvotes. Hundreds of different conversations and comments happened within there. Somebody also said that a mattress is more important than dental care. 3,000 people upvoted that. You also start to see people recommending brands. And now they're not recommending brands because they're getting paid to do it, or they're influencers, or there's any sort of personal gain attached to it. They're sharing these things because this is something that maybe really changed their life. And so you can start to see the beginnings of brand advocacy play out. And brand advocacy has never been more important because of two letters that you've probably heard 35 times today: AI. Oh, you didn't think you were going to go one meeting without AI. It's happening. You're going to hear a lot about AI today. You're going to hear a lot about it this year. How generated content is helping machine learning, optimizations, creative efficiency. Probably all of that is true. What you're going to probably not hear is how AI has completely changed our online experiences. There are fitness websites where every single article is written by AI. There are recipes where the entire thing is made by AI. I don't know how that food is going to taste. There's clickbait articles that exist just to get somebody into a high ad load experience from AI. In 2023, there was a survey. They took a look at unreliable AI-generated news websites. They found 49 websites. I could probably avoid 49 websites for news. In 2024, they found 976. That number is going to probably go up this year, I think. People are looking for more and more real human experiences. It's okay that some stuff is generated, but I want to know that if I'm going through a heavy decision, a big thing that's going to maybe change my life, I want to know somebody else is on the other side that I can have that conversation with. And it's getting harder and harder to be able to see who's a paid influencer, what's maybe a fake or a bogus review, what's a bot. 50% of online shoppers in the US said they don't trust product information of something that they're about to buy. There's a third of Gen Z that said up to 40% of Amazon reviews are totally fake. That is a lot of reviews. That's a lot of distrust. And so we see this erosion of trust that's starting to happen. When we take a look over the last 6 months of conversations about purchasing something on the internet, 51% of those conversations happen on Reddit. Take a step back. If you talked about buying anything on the internet, over half of them come from just one place, Reddit. Some people have found themselves so endeared to the platform for validation, for verification, that they can't even buy a water bottle without visiting the water bottle subreddit. And it seems a little silly, but people are not here for any personal gain, for anything other than altruism. They want to be able to share good experiences that they had with something. You know, if you go to that water bottle subreddit, you're going to get good reviews, analysis, competitive insights on water bottles from real human beings, because when they have a question, they want to know that they're going to also get an honest response back from somebody else in that community or the other communities that they visit. Last year, Reddit grew 54% year over year. TikTok grew 9%. Every other social platform declined. And when you start to look at the current news cycle, it's maybe not entirely surprising that people want more out of the places where they're spending their time online. Okay, so we talked about AI, of course. We talked about this erosion of trust. We talked about why people are coming and starting to have these conversations on the platform. So what does the conversation actually look like? Well, for an app marketer, it looks like how you talk to your friend that you actually trust their opinion, so not my buddy Sean. So you would probably ask, hey, I want to start working out. I don't really know where to start. Is there an app that you use for that? I don't have an app for personal finance. I have some pretty basic needs. I don't need all these bells and whistles. Any advice? I'm willing to pay for a subscription. I just want to know what exactly is worth it. People are coming with search intent and then finding themselves in these recommendations in these communities to be able to have these in-depth conversations. One organic post that mentions a brand ends up generating 3,500 reviews. Every single second, 2 Redditors ask a question about a recommendation. On average, they get 14 responses back. And now there are billions and billions of different posts and comments all around Reddit. It's a lot of recommendations. That's a lot of people that can completely transform a brand if they latch onto you. Importantly, Redditors are open to this. So this is the productivity community, and somebody is coming looking for an ADHD app. And they've already done their research. They have actually a really, really detailed analysis on what they're trying to look for, some considerations. They already actually had 2 apps in mind to go with. By the end of this post, they end up trying a completely different solution, one that they originally thought about. And what we call this is a redirected recommendation. A redirected recommendation is when the original poster has an idea, but then because the community conversation ends up trying something else. Year over year, we're seeing this on the rise, up 30% in 2024. And a lot of it is because the ability to have disagreements. Disagreements, conversations, validation back and forth of verifying somebody's opinion. These types of posts get more engagement, 19% more on average. Especially so if there's a really lengthy explanation of why you should go with one thing versus another. Now think about it. We're all going to do this today. We're going to hear things we either agree or disagree with in conversations on stage. You might find yourself at a happy hour later. Somebody's going to be going with maybe an unproven solution that you either had a bad experience with or you think there's a different one that you feel really passionate about. You're going to share with them, hey, I really think you should go with Reddit because you had a really great experience with it. It's going to probably go something like that. the cycle ends up continuing. People don't talk about these sorts of things in app discovery communities. They talk about them in communities. Peloton, meditation, Apple Watch. All these places where people are connecting with people that are like-minded and just want to be able to have a better experience online. And all of this leads up to one thing: trust. Trust is incredibly important. I trust that the slides are going to work. I trust that this mic works. Thank you, guys. I trust that if I'm using a finance app, it's not going to lock me out of my accounts. I trust that if I'm on another social platform, that it's not manipulating me by somebody who makes EVs. All of this trust, your brand is also in this conversation. And if I don't trust the platform I'm on, I don't trust the content that I see on that platform as much. I also don't trust the ads or the brands that I see on that platform. So how far does trust go? Well, sometimes people bet their money on it. This is an example of a Redditor who came to their community and they said, I'm going to buy one stock a day, every single day, based off of community recommendations. Now, they specifically decided how much they were going to invest, but importantly, they wanted to validate all these results. So they tracked it publicly. Over the course of 2 months, they've been seeing how the stock perform. Did Reddit crowdsourced stock tips outperform the market? Now, we're 2 months in. This is not financial advice. I have no idea long-term how this is going to work out. But an important thing is that people are trusting complete strangers because of the types of communities that they're in and the types of brands that are also showing up there. OK, so we're getting to the point of how can you actually start to tap into some of these solutions for your own user growth. The first example is Reddit Answers. This is a consumer product, went live a couple of weeks ago. Anybody can use it now if you have it on your phone. Reddit Answers synthesizes all of the different perspectives, diverse viewpoints on any topic. It could be about a brand, it could be about a solution, it could be about anything that Redditors are talking about. And there's billions and billions of different conversations happening on there. It can sometimes maybe feel daunting to be able to get to like the exact viewpoint of something. So this is where you can start to tap in. When we take a look at like how brands are actually using this, we see that brands are either being talked about quite a lot in some communities or also not at all. You can start to understand what communities are talking about you. What are they saying? Are they saying things about your product that you don't agree with or you didn't think was actually a market fit? We have an example for Zwift. So Zwift is a cycling app. And if you were going to start an ad campaign, where would you start to think about targeting? Fitness, the cycling community, maybe Peloton for some conquesting. If you used Reddit Answers, you would start targeting PC building. Turns out that the same people that are into advanced cycling analytics also happen to be an overlap with people that are building gaming battle stations. And that is a massive, massive audience that you maybe didn't even know existed. Creative that you wouldn't have ported over from another platform unless you started to understand the types of conversations that were happening in these communities. We can take it a step further. There's a free tool that was launched called Reddit Pro. Reddit Pro is available to any brand to be able to start to understand all of these metrics more in depth. Where are you being mentioned? Where are you trending? Is there positive or negative sentiment about your brand? What are the keywords that are associated with you? What some folks are starting to do with this is, well, they're listening. We have an example from Boo. It is a dating app. They took a look at what people that were in the market for a dating app were talking about. Turns out that they were interested in interests, in personality, and also finding a fellow gamer. So if they hadn't checked into Reddit Pro, into Reddit Answers, they would have totally missed out on this opportunity to show the community that they're listening, that they have a solution that might be able to address the things that they care about. Taking this a step further with Hinge, another dating app. They took a look at the questions that were being asked, the types of conversations that are happening in relationship communities, things that people aren't talking about with their family, with their friends, certainly maybe not even on other social media platforms. Because they did this, they started getting mentioned more in the community. And when you overlay that with their organic user growth, they're in parallel. Now, beyond the ads themselves, there's also community. Sometimes your brand is so important to somebody that it is the community. We have an example here from Fidelity, financial services app. They focus their community on education, financial literacy, resources for people to understand and hopefully improve their lives, and also hats. They were so proud of their community that they gave away hats when they hit 100,000 members. The hats themselves were designed by the community. There's a little red upvote, there's green for Cash Money and Fidelity's brand, and there's the subreddit name on the back. So what does a hat have to do with financial literacy or Fidelity? Well, think back to that redirected recommendation. Somebody is going to find themselves in another community talking about, hey, I need a finance app. Does anybody have any recommendations? This Redditor, with their Fidelity hat on, is going to recommend based off of the experience they had, and that cycle will continue. You also don't need to run your own subreddit to be involved in community. A lot of times there's already a community that exists about you or is talking about the things that your brand does. This is an opportunity to listen in, to add value in your own unique way, to be able to move that conversation forward and see, are things that people are saying valuable enough that you didn't realize that your product did or people cared about a lot. One more example that we have is an AMA. It's an Ask Me Anything. I think at 1:30 I'm doing an AMA, so ask me anything then. This is something that Robinhood did when they launched crypto trading on their platform a little while ago. They specifically had the conversation front and center to be able to talk to people about competing platforms, about cryptocurrency in general, directly addressing skeptics, and be able to start to build brand trust within these communities. Today, we have talked a lot about the consumer product, and that's because that's the reason why people are actually on the platform. People are here because of these genuine conversations, these recommendations that they can have. Your brand is in these conversations. It's no longer just important to be profitable, to have a user acquisition strategy, to have your measurements sorted out. You also need to care about what you're surrounded by and the types of conversations that people are having about you. We are also in a community. At this AppsFlyer Mama SF event, we are talking about things that are either going to make us agree or disagree, talking about new technologies, talking about AI, talking about things that hopefully are going to accelerate our business. And just as we are in this community talking about these things, there are other communities that are talking about your brand or something that your brand does. From here, it's whether or not you will listen and whether you can do anything with those tools. That is it. Thank you.